Yes. Well, let's go take a look.
So what's this room?
This is production, so we do a lot of different processes in here. We're going to start at the far back corner. So this is our surface mount line. We have two duplicate surface mount lines. So we would start here by putting a bare circuit board in. This would put solder paste on the circuit board on all the solder pads for the surface mount parts. It then transitions to the pick and place. Each of these reels has different components: resistors, caps, transistors, integrated circuits, and these two machines will put those components on. From there we go here, they give it a quick inspection. They may add some parts by hand, and then it goes into this oven, which runs it through a special profile, and you can see here there's a special profile it has to run. So it's kind of like cooking pizza, but a little more tight tolerance is needed for a circuit board. And when it comes out, all the parts should be soldered. So that's a board right off the reflow oven. So all the surface mount parts are now soldered onto the circuit board. From there, it'll go into this inspection room where we inspect every surface mount assembly before it goes on to the next step. On assemblies that are not surface mount, they could be through hole. So here's an example of a through hole assembly. So this one has all the axial parts on it. So that is done by this machine here. You can see the reels of parts where we can put all the parts on here, and then over in the operator's station they put the board on, and you can see the parts on the chain there. They come down one at a time, get lead formed, and put into the circuit board. This machine is similar to that one, but this puts in the radial parts, so capacitors, transistors, things like that. So after these two stages, the parts are either going to get wave soldered or selective soldered. So wave solder would be this station, where they put the board in here. When it comes through, there's basically a wave of solder, and this is protected by a shield right now because during preheat we have to keep it from bubbling up into the machine. But there'd be a wave, and it rides it kind of like a surfboard, and the whole underside of the board gets soldered. So an example of that would be right here. So you can see the whole bottom gets soldered. So that process can be done as long as I don't have parts on both sides of the circuit board. When I have parts on both sides of the circuit board, I need one of these selective solders. So this is one of our 3 selective solders. Let me see if there's an assembly over here that would be selective soldered. I don't actually have any in here right now. But what this does is it runs a nozzle under individual solder joints and solders them, and so it can avoid parts that are hanging down. So if you had parts on both sides of the circuit boards, the selective solders allow you to do that. Over here are our printers. So all of our silk screening on the enclosures is done on these printers. So these are full color printers. They print a very durable ink. And let me see if I have an example. So here's a sample of the type of printing we do. All right, let's head over here. This is where some of the final assembly is done, and also some of the product testing is done. So this station, we have automated testers for testing the guitar pedal. We put a signal through it, and then we test various aspects of the signal and turn the knobs to all the extremes so we can determine whether it's the right pot value, whether it's the right pot taper, and whether there's any wrong or missing components in there. And so we've started automating most of our testing on the guitar pedals. So here is a general build room. So we're doing the final assembly of the pedals in here. And we also do some hand soldering in here. There's various other operations may go on in here. She's doing wiring of foot switches right now. So we get the raw foot switches, and then she's putting the wires on and then putting them into the connector. In here is what we call the green machines. So these are to put on axial and radial parts similar to the machines in the big room, but these are more manual, where they manually put the part in and then it cuts and clinches the leads of the part in the board. So we still use these even though we have the more automated ones up front. We use these for, like, if we're going to do just a single LED, or certain parts work well in the manual environment where they might be tricky on the automated system. Here we have our inventory. We have quite an inventory of electronic components. This is just the through-hole inventory. I didn't show you along the back wall in the production room is where all the surface mount inventory is. And then in here is our machine shop. Here's some that just enclosures that just came out of powder coat. Here we have our CNC machines for doing the drilling of the enclosures. Cool. I don't know, is Ken in here? Can he be disturbed?
What is this room?
This is our powder coat room. So this is where we do the powder coating. That's our powder coat.
Oh. So is this with the powder on?
Yeah.
And
That hasn't been baked yet.
so they've been sprayed but not baked. Cool. Awesome. Thank you. Okay.
And that's about it for the production facility.